Welcome to MarlaMiller.com's Quick Query Critique. I'm Marla Miller, as I hope most of you know, and I am critiquing a children's fiction. And I think this is our, 50th, or, I should know, but I've done so many. Just a heads up before I go ahead and critique this query letter. You might have noticed on the site that for the Quick Query Critique slider, I have, for the last couple of weeks, put either a question mark or a thumbs up. I'm doing that because it's just easier for me. In the past, I have put, cute photos that I've gotten from Flickr or other sites that are emblematic of the query letter, but they take a lot of time. And so I've ditched that, and we're going to be using either a question mark or a thumbs up. I could have done a thumbs down, but we writers get so many thumbs down, we don't need it to see anymore. So if it's confusing, there'll be a question mark. If not, when you see this, that's a good thing. All right, let me go ahead and put my other glasses on. There. And let's read. Dear Miss Blank, 8-year-old Jerusha and her family are among the Jews who survived the Babylonian exile and returned to Judah. With the altar rebuilt in Jerusalem, the Jews gathered to reinstitute the sacrifice. Unfortunately, Jerusha learns that it is her pet lamb who will be the sacrifice for her family. Jerusha is a historical children's fiction book that will open a window into the history and culture of the Jewish nation for children's ages 7 to 11. Read aloud for 4 and older. When I read Etta Wilson's blog entry about the lack of Christian children's literature involving children of other cultures, I realized my book could help fill that void. I'm a homeschool mom, profoundly convinced about the power of high-quality children's literature, and I came to write Jerusha's story when my community Bible study class went through a year-long Return to Jerusalem study. It gave me an in-depth look at Jewish history and its inextricable ties to Christianity, which I want to convey to the 8 to 11-year-olds. I was leading through the children's version of the study, sorry. I felt the urge one week to do something for the kids other than a plain lecture about the weekly Bible reading, and this story was the result. Also, my pastor, who lived in Israel for several years, has read it for cultural and historical accuracy. For marketing, I believe the key will be reading at schools, libraries, and bookstores. It started as a read aloud after all. As a plus for accomplishing that as well as radio and newspaper promotion, my community is extraordinarily supportive of local enterprise. This book could find a place on the book list of literature-based homeschool curricula that cover the historical period of the Old Testament. I'm also active on the internet, which will help marketing efforts. My short story Blank was published in Blank, edited by Blank. Even more pertinently, I have been writing stories practically since I could read, though I am just now getting serious about submitting my work for publication. I would be glad to send the manuscript of Jerusha to you sincerely. Okay, so what do we think? A couple of things. First of all, I just want to make sure. Okay. First of all, I like it. I think that if this author is, if her data is accurate, then she is in fact filling a void. She sent a note with this query letter, and made a point of saying that she lived in the far reaches of Alaska where there weren't a lot of people, and that she would appreciate any marketing tips, which I don't give through Quick Query Critique. You actually have to pay for that. But in this case, I will add a few things just because they're germane to what she's already suggested in terms of her own marketing. I like the fact that she has mentioned a blogger who she follows, and that's a good thing, because again, that is letting whoever she pitches this to know that there is an audience out there, because there's someone already blogging about this kind of stuff. And what I think this query letter really could use more of is the actual story arc, which in my opinion, and again this is just my opinion, but in my opinion is really identified most clearly in this sentence that ends the first paragraph. And again, I post on the site. Unfortunately, Jerusha learns it is her pet lamb who will be the sacrifice for her family. I think we want to know more about that. I know that tugged at my heart. It made me think of Bambi, and it made me think of, the little elephant story. Sorry, I'm not up on my Disney, but I remember the feelings that those stories evoked. So it sounds like this one could be fall into that kind of in terms of resonance. It could have that kind of resonance. So I think we need to develop that more, don't you? So put more of that in this query letter so that the agent or the editor goes, oh my gosh, it's another one of those. But we don't know that from one sentence, but we would know it if she gave us more. So I would really encourage her to develop that more. And she can do that by taking away that last paragraph. Because in her last paragraph, she talks about where she's published. None of it's children's. It is adult. And so, really, I wouldn't say anything more than I have published a short story, and I've been writing since I was a little girl. That's really all you need. If it were germane to this, then yeah, of course, you would want to add that. And then in her fourth paragraph, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, there's 5 paragraphs here. In her fourth paragraph, she talks about marketing. Well, in the first paragraph, she didn't do that in the actual query letter. But what she's telling me in a little note that she submitted is that she lives in a pretty desolate area. So even if she's going to market locally, I mean, how many people is that? So, but here's a sentence here that really is where she should expound on the potential of the audience that she can reach. And that is when she says that her Bible group, that her community that she lives in are very supportive, and that she is a homeschool mom. So guess where I would be looking for my peeps? I would be on the internet hooking up with homeschool mom sites, and there's got to be a lot of them out there, because my guess is they're going to be the people who want this book, right? Because they're going to want to buy it for their homeschools. So she's on the right track, but rather than look locally, look globally, and or at least nationally, where homeschooling is, has taken off in the last 2 decades and is very much Christian oriented, which is, I think, her market. And speaking of that, she should really be pitching this to Christian publishers. Now, they're not as hot as they used to be, but they're still out there, and I know that they're still looking for manuscripts. I've had Christian publishers in my workshops. So I think that that would be where I would pitch. I wouldn't even look for an agent. Most children's literature, you don't need an agent anyway. You can pitch directly to a publisher. So I hope that that's helpful. I like the query. I think we need more hook with the storyline, and this poor little lamb is going to go to slaughter. And get rid of anything that is not particular to this story, which is a significant amount. So that's it for this one, and I hope, I'm just looking at, okay. I hope that you are well and that you keep writing, and until the next time we meet, send me your query letters. Nonfiction, please.